Joining me now is Texas Congressman Chip Roy and Terrell County Sheriff Thaddeus Cleveland. He's also a former Border Patrol agent. Sheriff, let's start with you. What would a mass deportation effort like what former President Trump is proposing actually do for your community?
Well, I'll tell you what it'll take. It'll take not just agencies from the federal government, mainly ICE, ERO, those in charge of removal operations, but it'll take our local and state law enforcement agencies, those of us that can go out and actually receive delegated authority from the Immigration and Nationality Act under 287G, which allows us to hold those who have committed crimes in our communities and are here illegally, allows us to go ahead and hold them in custody until we can turn them over to ICE or to Border Patrol agents under CBP. But what we deal with here in my county is totally different than what you see happening in Eagle Pass, El Paso, Lukeville, Arizona, and San Diego. What we have in my county are people still illegally entering the river, crossing the river, and then once we encounter them, they run. Or if we encounter them on the highways, they lead us in those high-speed pursuits you hear of. So, you're exactly right. It's going to take putting a strong leader in the White House, President Trump, that's going to back up his talk and make sure our borders are protected.
And Congressman Roy, 62% in that CBS YouGov poll that just came out favoring deportation squads, or a program for all illegals currently in the United States. This was the great line they always sold to us. You can't deport 20 million people. Well, apparently there's a can-do attitude when it comes to that.
Well, great to see my good friend Thad Cleveland there. See you, brother. Good to see you. I hope to see you in person again soon. Keep doing what you're doing down there in South Texas. The feds are leaving you hanging, and we're doing everything we can. Some of us are up there trying to do what we can to try to stop it. Those 62% of Americans, they're dead correct. We need to have a mass deportation. By the way, 87% of Americans believe we should pass federal law to require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. I've got a bill to do that, the SAVE Act. While Democrats want to talk about foreign interference in elections and that Republicans are doing that, guess what? It's the Democrats who are literally importing people with the specific purpose of actually impacting elections. They're doing it on purpose. We see it before our eyes. They are trying to actually register voters in our nation's capital. They're trying to register voters in Oakland and San Francisco and in New York. That's why we need this federal law. And I'm with Thad Cleveland. I'm with Texas Governor Abbott. We need to take it into our own hands in the state of Texas. And I in Congress needs to step up and do what I can to put pressure on my colleagues to get the damn job done.
Well, Sheriff, even MSNBC, they know that the Democrats are losing on this open border issue. Check this out.
I'd like to see the Democrats go more on offense on the threat of Trump in a second term and what the mass deportation regime would look like. Maybe an ad campaign talking about these jackbooted thugs, coming into quinceañeras and coming into neighborhoods and deporting people.
Okay, so Sheriff, he's trying to say, oh, you're just not messaging it right. Will that work? Is that what people are thinking now?
Or he couldn't be further from the truth. Look, I grew up on the border. I've lived a lifetime on the border, other than my time in the United States Air Force and my time at headquarters Border Patrol in Washington, D.C. Look, what's going to happen, or what needs to happen, are taking Americans, those of us who care about our country, those of us who want to preserve our country, and even, Chip Roy, his H.R. 29 here in Texas that he sent forth that later became a large portion of H.R. 2, that would solve a lot of what we're seeing. It's that the Senate continues to sit on it, and then they come up with their own bill that was complete garbage. And now what we're seeing with this executive order by the president, look, apprehensions haven't been less than 3,000 since that thing was put into effect.
Yeah, now
most Americans have, and I just must say, I'm in Florida visiting my son who's in the Air Force as well. I've been to restaurants, I've been to Walmart, I've been to grocery stores, and it's not profiling people. There are illegals all over this country. My entire trip out here as I drove across Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, we're inundated. We need to do something to protect Americans or we're going to have more loss of lives.
Congressman, very quickly, you see this absolutely happening if Trump is in. There's no question there's not going to be the sob stories that prevent this deportation mass effort to be underway and be underway quickly?
I believe President Trump wants to do that. I believe President Trump has demonstrated that he would do that. But I think Congress needs a kick in the rear end to actually step up and do the job. Why are there only 104 Republican co-sponsors of My Save Act? Why aren't every Republican shouting to the rooftops that Rachel Marin got killed, that Laken Riley got killed, that Lisbeth Medina in Texas got killed? You can't count on it because Republicans will say we don't have 60 in the Senate, and they'll start hiding. Don't let Republicans hide. We need to back up the president and get the job done.
Yeah, they're hiding, and America is slowly but surely disappearing. Congressman and Sheriff, thank you both.